Sometimes people ask me, what's a Sufi? What's the way of a Sufi? How could I understand that? Well, in my view, a Sufi is a human being, simply a human being, awakened to the clear light of presence. All else follows from there. All the variations of theology, belief, ethical conduct, poetry, humor, creativity, love life, all of these are derivative from this fundamental, non-conceptual experience of what I'm calling presence, or what in classical Sufi terms is called tawhid, or oneness. Presence is this clarity that makes all being possible. But coming back to the question, what is a Sufi? It's not really accurate to call someone a Sufi, since that name implies a definition where there really is none. The essence of Sufism is non-definitive. It's not a certain belief system, a religious narrative, a rule of correct behavior. It's more like a fragrance than a flower. It's more like a gesture than a statement, or more like warmth itself, rather than a certain kind of coat. Classically, Sufism has been associated most often with the religion of Islam. But in my view, one could just as easily be a Christian Sufi, or a Jewish Sufi, or a Buddhist Sufi, or be a Sufi without any religious affiliation. If that's so, then what does this word Sufi indicate? For me, it indicates a way of, an inclination toward open-heartedness, open-mindedness, ease, tolerance, balance. It's an inclination toward friendship and kindness. It's the nature of this free spirit, unrestricted by adherence to any particular story, belief, opinion, while honoring the ways in which the truth shows up in all the various forms that it does. Some Sufis, instead of calling themselves Sufis, have said, "We are the people of remembrance." What is it? What is it that they remember? In essence, they remember what I mentioned to begin with, the clear light of presence. This could be called God, or Allah, or Buddha nature, or 100 other names. It's simply the clear, ever-present light that's the ground of all being, from which, or maybe better to say within which, all phenomena appear, including us at this moment. Thus, everything that appears is nothing other than this presence. What I'm calling presence is hidden from us, because it's not a thing, though it is right here, right now, and couldn't possibly be otherwise. I'm not talking about a spacey, nebulous feeling of oneness. The presence I'm talking about is precise and immediate, though it's not knowable in the usual way we know things. And the Sufi human being gets this all the way through. And from this recognition, the way of the Sufi naturally emerges. And while this way takes myriad forms responsive to the moment, there are some qualities that could be spoken of that characterize the Sufi's way. I'd like to mention 6 of them here. The Sufi's way is poetic, it's universal, contemporary, experiential, kind, and beautiful. So if you've stayed with me this far, let's see if we can explore these 6 qualities for a few moments. First, the Sufi's way is poetic. It's poetic in that the language she uses and the teachings given and the practices suggested all tend toward the non-definitive, precisely because the actual event of mystical recognition is inexpressible. The Sufi's way is not an art of conclusion-making. Instead, it continually tries to undermine, to sabotage the reifying tendencies of the mind and language, while revealing that in the here and now, in the crucible of the here and now, nothing actually comes into being. Second, the Sufi's way is universal. It's neither Western nor Eastern, nor aligned exclusively with any one tradition or cultural context. The Sufi's teachings and practices are appreciative of all traditions, while not claiming priority for any of them. And this inclusivity makes available to the Sufi a richness of resources, of lineages, teachings, methods of practice that result in a non-sectarian atmosphere and a style of working together that's both flexible and rigorous. Third, the Sufi's way is contemporary. This simply means it reinvents its styles of teaching and expression in accord with the context of the historical moment. That is, the available technology, cultural sensitivities, the religions of the times, the aesthetic of the times. Fourth, the way of the Sufi is experiential. This is important, it's central. It privileges direct experience over received knowledge. So while the Sufi may at times speak descriptively or philosophically, these expressions are offered for their capacity to open up possibilities of mystical recognition, and not to substitute for it. Cultivating direct mystical experience is the main point of Sufi teachings. Fifth, regarding ethics and rules of conduct, the Sufi's way is simply kind. And here the Sufi would rather be humble than assertive, valuing the kindness that naturally arises from the initiatory experience of presence, over any attempt to legislate right and wrong behavior. This style of kindness is sensitivity. It's a moral sensitivity, free from the judgments that alienate us one from another in these matters. And finally, I must include here the sense that the Sufi's way is beautiful. It's informed by beauty and the appreciation of beauty. As the Sufi mystic Ibn Arabi stated, beauty is the welcoming openness of the truth toward us. Beauty is the welcoming openness of the truth toward us. In that way, beauty is the Sufi's guide. The Sufi learns to follow beauty in all of his or her actions and offerings, recognizing that the ineffable experience of the beautiful is our resonance with and our identity with the clear light of presence.